Once again, places in a World Championship final up for grabs. This time it's the men's 400 metres. Again, there are 3 semi-finals. Let's meet the athletes in the first of them. Thafelo Fora, twice an African silver medalist, drawn right on the outside for South Africa. Abbas Abubakar Abbas, the Asian silver medalist. He's already got a bronze medal from these championships in the mixed 4x4 relay with Bahrain. David Ray took a good heat in his, a good scalp in his heat rather, when he finished ahead of Fred Curley, who was easing down, the 44.77 man from Italy, first Italian to go sub-45. Jonathan Secours, the world junior champion, 20 years of age, from Belgium, coached by Jacques Borlet, father of the famous Borlet brothers. Emmanuel Correa, who is number 6 all-time on the 800 metres list. A terrific dual-purpose athlete across the 400 and the 800. He was second here in the Diamond League 800 earlier this year. The US champion Fred Curley, more experienced than Michael Norman. He made the final in London in 2017, placing 7th. Number 7 all-time. Masen Al Yassan, one of the time qualifiers representing Saudi Arabia, in lane 3. And on the inside, the second of the Americans in this lineup, had a good indoor season, Nathan Strother, but hasn't quite managed to replicate it outside. Third, though, in the US Championships. Sneaked through after he didn't run a great race in the heat, and therefore he finds himself in lane 2. 2 automatic places. Curley and Correa, though, drawn in adjacent lanes in 4 and 5. With 2 automatic places in Friday's final. So away they go, and Curley has gone out well, has already taken a metre or so out of Emmanuel Correa, who has tremendous 400 speed as an 800 metre runner, and Curley is already right up on the inside of Correa, also going well down the back straight. One from the outside is Abbas of Bahrain, but as they come through halfway, it's Curley on the inside leading this one. Correa will have some work to do in the second half of the race. Also on the outside going well is Fora of South Africa. But Fred Curley now, as they come into the straight, with Emmanuel Correa starting to get into his running. It's Curley from Correa. Secours trying to make a move. David Ray coming late as well in the blue of Italy. But Fred Curley up to the line. Correa working hard all the way to the line. Curley easing down. 44.26 from Correa, and the fast finishing David Ray, who came through for third. 44.26 for Fred Curley. And job done.
Well, Fred Curley did a wonderful job of pushing the pace early on. He puts the pressure on the field, but you got to be strong enough to hold it, and he looks fantastic in that last 100 meters. You'll see a very similar race when Michael Norman gets on the track in the third heat. They both love to push the pace. This is what Fred Curley has done since I've watched him in college. He just blazes out in that first 200, 250 meters. And then you see how far can his fitness take him? How far can he continue to push this pace? And that's how you get fit. You push it out to 300, you push it out to 320. You might find your place in some races early on in the season that you're not able to hold it, but Fred Curley seems like his strength and his fitness is definitely there.
Just looking at Correa as he comes up towards the line as well, he really seems to be working hard there to close that gap down. His head's bobbing all over the place. Well,
it's certainly different look at the styles. Fred Curley, he begins to labor just a little bit. But when you're that tired, you've got to get movement from someplace. That's why you buck. That's why athletes buck their heads and kind of go up and down just a little bit, because your legs just can't go any faster. So you're trying to get that motion from another part of your body. But nice and steady. Look at the relaxation in the shoulders for Fred Curley.
Yep, Fred Curley there. An efficient performance to get himself safely through. 44.25 his winning time was rounded down to. Correa 44.37 in second, and David Ray, we'll have to wait and see if 44.85 will get him in. A personal best, by the way, for the world junior champion Jonathan Secours. In fact, tying his personal best, 45.03. Will be in action for Belgium in the 4x4 relay. He runs in the Belgian relay team with the 3 Borlet brothers. second of the semi-finals in the men's 400 meters. Vernon Norwood of the USA on the outside, fourth at the US Championships, made the semi-finals in Beijing in 2015. Lungo Scotch ran a lifetime best of 45.10 in his heat. Demish Gay, sixth in the London 2017 World Championship final, world ranked number 6 this year, representing Jamaica. He goes in lane 7. The power comes in lanes 6 and 5. Stephen Gardner, the world silver medalist, behind Wade van Niekerk in London 2017. He's unbeaten this year over 400 meters, including prelims. Kirani James, he won the world title at the age of 18, way back in Daegu in 2011. He won the Olympic title in London 2012. Took the bronze in 2015. He's back to form. Philip Osai of Canada, 3 times the national champion, has already run the mixed 4x4 heats as well in this championships. Jean Perlasa, the Pan American relay gold medalist from Colombia, is drawn in 3. And Stephen Solomon, who made the 2012 Olympic final as a junior, and his personal best of 44.97 dates back to that race. He goes on the inside in lane 2. But the Caribbean flavour in the centre, Kirani James and Stephen Gardner, the 2 expected to lead the way here. Vernon Norwood of the US right on the outside. 2 automatic places to join Curley and Korea in the final. So keep an eye on Kirani James in the green and red, and Stephen Gardner in the turquoise of Bahamas. And Kirani James has gone out well. Opened up a metre or so already on Stephen Gardner as they make their way down the back. Norwood has started reasonably quickly as well, right on the outside for the USA. And also in the early stages, Demish Gay of Jamaica as they come through halfway. Norwood right on the outside, Kirani James and Gardner looking comfortable at this stage, and also Gay alongside them, as Norwood now will have to work hard in the home straight to make that lane 8 disadvantage count. But Gardner, how comfortable does he look? His teammate Shawnee Miller-Weibo is making it look pretty easy, and Stephen Gardner is as comfortable as you like coming up to the line. Kirani James is working all the way to the line. He takes second, and Demish Gay of Jamaica takes third. 44.14, the winning time, quicker than the first heat, but Stephen Gardner comfortably through.
Wow, Stephen Gardner looks a little gassed right there, but he and Kirani James looked fantastic. We talk about fitness down the home straight. Kirani James looked like he had more to give. Stephen Gardner certainly looked like he could go to another level. Outstanding running. Vernon Norwood on the outside, he ran really well for about 320 meters, then began to fade. It's tough out there in the outside lane. When you can't see anybody, you know they're coming, certainly when you got Stephen Gardner and Kirani James in there. But you see Kirani James, he looked to his right, knew there was only 2 up front, but this is how Kirani James has looked in the past, and Stephen Gardner's such a beautiful runner. Look at just no effort at all. This is how you're supposed to run the 400 meters. People say, well, couldn't he run faster? Well, I'm sure if Michael Norman or Fred Curley is there, he will run faster, but that is effortless running. Somebody told me a long time ago, don't try harder in the 400, try less.
Well, given the form that the 4 guys who've taken the automatic qualification spots have shown so far, Curley and Korea and James and Gardner, and we've still got Michael Norman to come, this could be one hell of a final down on Friday.
Stephen Gardner just looks like he's in phenomenal shape. And there was some question of whether the Bahamas team was even going to be here, and I'm so glad to see that they are. And I couldn't imagine Shawnee Miller-Weibo missing a world championship. Just, you know, she's the best female runner in the world, and it would have been a shame to not have Stephen Gardner and her at these games.
Another lifetime best for Scotch of Botswana, which we'll see there, 45.00. He's taken another 10th off his lifetime best, but the automatic qualifiers, Stephen Gardner and Kirani James. Demish Gay, at the moment, would go through as a time qualifier with 1 semi-final still to come. Semi-final 3 of 3 in the men's 400 meters. Rabah Youssef on the outside has had a busy championships. He was in action in both rounds of the mixed 4x4 relay. He saw his teammate Matthew Hudson-Smith pull up injured in the heats. The solitary British athlete remaining in the 400. Anthony Zambrano, the South American and Pan American champion from Colombia, in lane 8. a world relay gold medalist from London 2017 and the Trinidad and Tobago team that overhauled the USA. Michael Cedeño. Akeem Bloomfield, 21 years of age, Diamond League wins in London and Birmingham this year. He was third in the Diamond League final behind Michael Norman and Fred Curley. Julian Walsh of Japan ran exceptionally well from a difficult lane in the heats to get himself in lane 5 for this semi-final. 45.14 was his lifetime best set then. Here is the world ranked number 1, the world leader, Michael Norman, number 4 all-time, the Diamond League winner. He goes in lane 4. Lane 3, the Asian champion, won in this stadium for Kuwait. Yusuf Karam is in lane 3. And right on the inside, a man in his first ever World Championship semi-final, Kenya's Alphas Kishoyan. Completes the lineup for the third and final of these 3 men's semis. First 2 qualify automatically. Anybody outside the first 2 needs to beat 44.85 to have a chance of being a time qualifier.
On your marks.
First heat was won in 44.25 by Fred Curley. The second heat, 44.15 by Stephen Gardner. What can Michael Norman and the likes of Akeem Bloomfield produce here?
Sir.
Well, Michael Norman will have Akeem Bloomfield in his sights. A couple of lanes outside him. In the inside lanes, Karam has pulled up in the early stages, and Norman is already up on Julian Wolf. Wolf's outside him. Cedeño of Trinidad and Tobago is the one who's gone out really hard in the red shorts too from the outside. So Cedeño at this stage bringing Bloomfield with him, and Michael Norman has run conservatively through the first 200 metres, and Michael Norman seems to be going backwards there, and he is going backwards. Michael Norman cannot be fully fit there. He's got a problem, that is for sure. Surely as Cedeño, unless he's timing this very, very late, Michael Norman is not running fluently, and he is not going to make the final. Cedeño is going to, coming through on the outside as well, Zambrano. That is a big shot. Michael Norman trails in last. He's obviously got a problem, and Dan O'Brien, that is a huge World Championship moment.
Wow, I was really surprised. He got a great start, and in the first 100 meters, he began to make up some ground, and then about 200 meters in, he just didn't have that other gear. He was definitely holding back, and that is an absolute shock, while Cedeño runs an outstanding time to win the heat.
Well, what can they produce? And I mean, we've got to say that as a complete shot, because Bloomfield hasn't made the top 2 either there. So Cedeño and Zambrano, well, they've run the races of their lives to go through. Michael Norman, well, there'll be a question mark. He certainly seemed to be running as if something was obviously pulling, or he didn't want to do some serious damage there. He didn't pull up, he carried on and trailed his way in last. 45.94 he produced.
Yeah, that's just absolutely shocking. God, he got a great start too, and I thought, here he goes, he's going to push really hard. He runs very similarly to Fred Curley, who just pushes that first 250, 300 meters. But here, when you expected him to make a move, he just wasn't there. He wasn't himself. He usually gets to the 200-meter mark first, but it just was not the normal Michael Norman that we were used to seeing.
At the bottom of the picture, Zambrano has finished like a train to overhaul Bloomfield in the closing stages. It earned him a national record that you saw pop up on the screen a moment ago as well. So Cedeño of Trinidad and Tobago, keep an eye on Michael Norman's facials there. We can just see, I think he's realised that it's not happening for him.
Well, even with 100 meters to go, it looked like he tried to put on another little burst and had to back off. So whatever his ailment is, I wonder if he's backing off and he's going to just try to save it and help Team USA in the 4x400 meter relay.
Well, yeah, those sort of things, I mean, that's a real, I guess, selfless way to think about it, isn't it? You don't end up pushing yourself in your individual race to still have an opportunity of winning a world gold medal in a relay, when others, maybe if you're not fully fit, maybe others can help you get that gold medal.
Well, you see Cedeño out front in the red and black. He's been running exceptional over the last 2 rounds. Certainly not surprised that he's your top qualifier.
I think he was probably surprised when he looked across there and didn't see Michael Norman.
Well, you know, you see it during the race and you don't really think about it very much, but when it happens, when people fall off to the side, when it happens, you certainly, and then, you know, we had another casualty, Karam, early on, you mentioned him. But certainly when the best guys in the race go out, you take notice.
We've seen a few pull up in the 400s particularly. We saw Corey Carter pull up. We saw Matthew Hudson-Smith of Great Britain pull up in the 400. We've seen two effectively there, if we include Michael Norman, pull up as well, as Cedeno with the season's best and Zambrano with a Colombian record. And Hakeem Bloomfield does go through as one of the time qualifiers. He's snuck through despite getting caught on the line. The other of the time qualifiers to go through will be Demish Gay of Jamaica. So there's going to be a distinctly Caribbean flavour to the 400 metres final, maybe not quite as American dominated. There we have the full lineup: Bahamas, Grenada, Trinidad and Tobago, Jamaica, and just the one solitary USA athlete, Fred Curley.
Yeah, a little bit surprising that you see you don't see another U.S. flag there, or even two, and that's certainly what we're used to.